Hey everybody, welcome to this morning edition of the Morning Devo with Bo. Super nice and dark in my office. But that's where I'm at today. It's going to be Proverbs 19. And Marcia, you are in the house. You got notified. Praise the Lord. I'm not sure why you got notified. this time and not the other times, but glad you are notified. Angie's in the house. Hey, Angie, what's happening? Paula and Casey already. So, hey, welcome. This is my morning devotion time before I go do a hockey chapel. That's why I'm in kind of early today. But anyway, glad you can join me. I was thinking probably not many people will be able to join me today just because of the time. But hey, it's my time to get in the Word a little bit before I hit chapel, work with those hockey players. And let's get into it. So chapter 19 of Proverbs. As you guys know, that I am a Generation X guy. Grew up in Southern Cal, super progressive, very, very progressive. I had prophets too and teachers, but they were guys like Noam Chomsky and Howard Zinn and different people. I remember reading Bhagwash Rajneesh when I was a young teen. My dad was super progressive. I can just go on and on and on. But, I kind of tend to look at the Bible through my lens. Everybody does. So I came to know Christ when I was around 17, and it was simply through reading the Bible. So that's how I do my devotions. I just go through the Bible. So what a concept, right? Just read. And usually when you read the Bible, there's a lot of answers that you're getting as you're just going through it. So a lot of people that have questions on the Bible, blah, 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 even misunderstandings or things like that, or just, wrong concepts. A lot of times it's just because we growing up just have not read the Bible at all. We might have read like little tidbits, but we certainly don't know things in their context or anything like that. Proverbs is a book of wisdom, parents to kids kind of idea, or teens, you could say, or young adults, you could say. But it's good for all of us, obviously. It's something that it's a book that's written so it helps us understand wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Those kind of terms are used quite a bit, and there's themes throughout the Proverbs all the time. Similar themes throughout most of these Proverbs. Now look at verse 19, chapter 19. It says, better to be poor and honest than to be dishonest and a fool. So it just talks about, it's better to be an honest person than to be dishonest. So when it comes to like thinking about that, just think about, hey, how honest are you? And that's always a convicting thing, right? But it's something to think about and something to really bring before God, right? In a devotion sense. God, hey, help me with my honesty. It says, enthusiasm without knowledge is no good. Haste makes mistakes. Ooh, that's so true, right? Being hasty really leads us into areas of mistake making when we don't take the time to think through things, right? When we get enthusiastic and we just go for it, man, we just bust a wheelie, right? We just go crazy. We got to pump the brakes, take a step back and go, man, is that really a good thing to do? Think about it when you're younger, right? You just you're going off of almost like animal instinct. You're just kind of moving, and it says, hey, hold back, be patient, be honest, work on honesty, work on being patient. It says people ruin their lives by their own foolishness and then are angry at the Lord. Wow, that is true, right? I mean, how many of us have something's gone wrong and we blame God? I think of like Depeche Mode songs and stuff like that, or, I think God has a sixth sense of humor that they sing about, and that's how a lot of bands are. Back in my day, especially, they would talk bad about God as if, they could mock God. And that, it kind of showed some kind of intellectualism in their mocking of the deity, right? And I was on that side. We would do that, right? We would think, oh, it's God's fault. Oh, if there's really a God, why did he allow this? Those kind of ideas, But notice it's so true, right? The Bible just paints it out so clear, right? It's like, then they're angry at the Lord, right? It's like you do something foolish, but now you're bent at God. Wealth makes many friends. Poverty drives them all away. So true. That's a practical truth, right? Yeah, you make money. Yeah, you definitely can have friends, right? And when you live a lazy, usually Solomon's talking about kind of this lazy poverty, right? Drives them all away. You want to be lazy and you start, you have no money and then you're just what? Asking for money all the time, right? Have you ever been that person? It's just constantly asking for money all the time, and that can rub the friends the wrong way after a while. A false witness will not go unpunished, nor will a liar escape. Many seek favors from a ruler. Everyone is the friend of a person who gives gifts. So true, right? Sometimes we just hang out with people, right, that are just givers. And we do it maybe for the wrong reason as well. Maybe we hang out with people who are givers, not so much because we really care for them, but maybe it's because of the gift that they can give us. And we kind of are looking forward to that, right? So maybe there is kind of a lyingness, lying lips in a sense in our mind, meaning maybe we're not being that very honest of why we're around people. So you can see how these proverbs can piggyback on one another. Being honest, right? Living a life of integrity, not lying, right? Not just cozying up to someone because they're a giver, right? Check your motives, Casey says God's grace and his word changed my life. Amen. That's all. That's it. That's how it works. You open up the Bible and you start reading. If you don't understand something, circle it, underline it, and then maybe you could look up, what that means. You could always go to my good friend David Guzik's commentary, enduringword.com, and just, you click on the Bible book that you have a question on and the chapter and the verse, and you could read from there. That might help you. So it says, verse 7, it says, many relatives of the poor despise them. Or the relatives of the poor despise them. How much more will their friends avoid them? Though the poor plead with them, their friends are gone. Right? That idea of, again, lazy poverty, that seems to be a thread throughout the Proverbs. It just, you can really, through our laziness, through our lack of being diligent, through that kind of avenue. I'm not talking about it's not talking about a tragedy like Job or something where something happens and you lose everything. The Proverbs are always talking about that lazy person who just doesn't want to do anything and just starts feeding off of other people. I think of it this way too. If I don't deal with my inner things in my heart, I will try to get those things from other people. Meaning if I have a poverty of heart, right, a poverty of spirit, I will try to get riches from other people. Meaning I'll try to pull joy from them. I'll try to pull whatever it is I need from them. And what I need to do is be full, right? I need to be full already in me. And then I could actually start treating them properly because I'm not trying to suck something out of them. I'm not trying to manipulate something. So, man, sometimes I think of that poverty of spirit, that can, and not the good kind of poverty of spirit, but that one that, you're kind of poor in something. And then you're trying to pull that out of someone else. Ugh. And that's not good. So to acquire wisdom is to love oneself. People who cherish understanding will prosper. So to acquire wisdom, that's what the whole book's about. A false witness will not go unpunished, and a liar will not be destroyed. So don't go that route, young man. That's what it's kind of saying, young woman. It isn't right for a fool to live in luxury or a slave to rule over princes. Sometimes there's those weird things that are happening. Someone's ruling when they shouldn't, and someone's following when they shouldn't. And sometimes that's true, right, in life. And sensible people control their temper. They earn respect by overlooking wrongs. Controlling your temper. Hey, how's your temper? How is your anger? Do you see something and just get, fired up? And then it says, sensible people control their temper, They earn respect by overlooking wrongs. Maybe there's a time to overlook wrongs, and maybe there's a time not to overlook wrongs, right? But I need to be able to control my anger within those contexts in my life. So, in decision making, in conflict, times of things aren't going so well with that person, I definitely need to learn how to control my temper so I don't just fly off the handle. If you feel all kind of pressured in and you feel like you're like, that boiling water that's just getting ready to, blow, you probably shouldn't go into the conversation. You need to take a break and really seek the Lord and say, hey, God, you know what? Help me not to react. Help me to be so full of your love, so full of grace, that when I go into this meeting, Lord, your love and your grace permeates my heart and fills me with joy and fills me with goodness, so that I'm not upset that I can't control this person that's sitting across the table from me. I can't fix them. I can't make them think the way I want them to think. If you try to do that, you're going to be frustrated to the core. And then what happens is blocked goals equal anger, right? Blocked goals. You got a goal, blocked, you're going to get angry, right? So a sensible person will control their temper. The king's anger is like a roaring lion, but his favor is like dew on the grass. So true. Man, those powerful, man, they could be your enemy, or they could be, man, a person of extreme help. It says, a foolish child is a calamity to the father. A quarrelsome wife is as annoying as a constant dripping. Ooh, yikes. That doesn't sound fun, right? A child, calamity to a father. Oh, that's so true, right? Or to a mom. You think of when your children don't make great decisions, right? I didn't make good decisions. Gosh, what did my parents have to go through? What was on their minds when they thought of me, and maybe what I potentially, where I was at, or things like that. But it is like a foolish child certainly brings a lot of calamity to a parent. And a lot of us can relate to that burden. It says, a quarrelsome wife is as annoying as a constant dripping. I am so fortunate that I can't really relate to verse 13, the second part, a quarrelsome wife. Man, I just don't have a quarrelsome wife. She's like my best friend and my buddy, and she's awesome. I've known her since we were kids, did a lot of stupid stuff together, and came to Christ together. But quarrelsome is not one of them. She's just not a quarrelsome girl. And I just appreciate that. A constant dripping. I had to fix a leak the other day in the faucet that was a constant dripping. Constant drip, drip, drip. But I can think of it this way too in the devotion, is there things in my life that are constant dripping, that just seem like an annoyance, and that's something I could think about. And I could find some things on that in me, right? Fathers can give their sons an inheritance of house and wealth, but only the Lord can give an understanding wife. Ooh, so cool, right? You might get all those great riches and inheritance, but man, to find an awesome wife, that is super cool. So it's a father talking to a what? Son. Lazy people sleep soundly, but idleness leaves them hungry. So that's the idea, right? Poverty, laziness. Keep the commandments and keep your life. Despising them leads to death. If you help the poor, you are lending to the Lord, and he will repay you. That's cool. So it's not dissing the poor. It's just saying that, hey, there's a laziness that leads to poverty. That, man, there's a lot of issues going on, and your friends, man, will take off because, man, you're just constantly wanting cash. But there is a heart that wants to give to people that truly need it and that are poor. And that's a great heart. And that's one that you are, in a sense, doing it under the Lord. You are participating in something that the Lord loves to do. And what does he love to do? Give. God so loved the world that he gave. And were we in poverty? Absolutely. We were certainly poor in spirit, and he gives to us. So kind of cool. Discipline your children while there is hope. Otherwise, you will ruin their lives. Discipline your children. Wow. So important, right? Or we will ruin their lives. Man, that's a challenging passage in and of itself, right? God, help me to discipline. You know what I think about too when I think about passages like this? Discipline takes time. It takes effort. You can't just sit on the couch and drink a 6-pack of beer, right? And watch the football game and be invested in your kid's life, your little kid's life. They're out running around, right? But you don't want to be, bothered. You just want to kick back, drink and watch, And, I remember as a kid, my dad giving me those little 8 ounces of Budweiser when I was in kindergarten. I know it's crazy. And he would give me a little bit of that, that can, the little ones. And it was like, I guess my dad thought it was like little kid beer or something. But he would, and I'm sure what he was doing, now that I look back on it, was he was putting me to bed. He was just saying, dude, I give my son a little bit of this, and he's going to be down. So he could what? Chill out with his cronies, man. Hang out, have a little party, enjoy time, kids are in bed, kind of thing. It takes time to discipline. It really does. You got to really be engaged, Hot-tempered people must pay the penalty. If you rescue them once, you will have to do it again. That's right. You just keep rescuing and rescuing. Hey, are you that kind of person? Are you a rescuer? I'm going to rescue. And then people just don't learn, right? You enable. Just an enabler. Am I an enabler? Those are great questions to ask. Think through it. Do I just allow something to continue? Do I ever mention it? Do I ever really get honest and share? With a loving heart, with a kind heart. And then I leave it. You don't share. Keep sharing every time you see me, share. No, share what's on your heart and then leave it. Pray about it, right? They know. They know it's in your heart. They know you've already shared it. So you don't have to keep sharing it over and over. But don't enable. Don't just ignore, right? Especially when there's some bad behavior going on. So it says, get all the advice you can and instruction you can so that you will be wise the rest of your life. You can make many plans, but the Lord's purpose will prevail. Amen, right? You can make many plans, but it might go different. Loyalty makes a person attractive. It is better to be poor than dishonest. Hey, being loyal is awesome. That can be super attractive, especially in a relationship that's monogamous, right? I would put that in there, right? Some loyalty. It is better to be poor than dishonest. Man, that's kind of like it's kind of the idea of, in a sense, better poverty than rich and dishonest that it keeps talking about, right? Fear the Lord, which leads to life, bringing security and protection from harm. Lazy people take food in their hand, but don't even lift it to their mouth. Wow, that's lazy, man, right? The idea of focusing on the Lord, fearing the Lord, is something that is our protection ultimately, right? It saves us from what? Fearing the Lord saves us from an eternity separated from God. I'd say that's some protection. And then it talks about this lazy hand that won't even put up the food to its mouth. If you punish a mocker, the simple-minded will learn a lesson. If you correct the wise, they will be all the wiser. So it's good to have some correction in life. Children who mistreat their father or chase away their mother are an embarrassment and a public disgrace. Chasing away mom, chasing away dad. Never good. Sometimes us growing up, we didn't have maybe the best parents at a certain particular time. And so we felt like we had to chase them away. I remember when my mom went through both of her divorces, man, I was pretty stoked at both of them, actually. Just because life was a mess, right? And so, sometimes, we don't have good parents. But sometimes people have great parents, and then they go to college. It's unbelievable. They go to college, they have great parents that love them, parents give them money to go to college and everything like that. Everything's paid for, and they just go and totally go nuts and move away from their parents, and they think their parents are dumb or something. And you're like, what? Like, man, dude, you just been handed it all, and you didn't even have any respect for it. That's so sad. It says, if you stop listening to instruction, my child, you will turn your back on knowledge. Help me not stop listening to instruction. A corrupt witness makes a mockery of justice. The mouth of the wicked gulps down evil. That so much reminds me of just our political world, right? A corrupt witness makes a mockery of justice. Is there so much in our news that people that shouldn't be in jail get in jail, people that should be in jail aren't in jail, people in the political system are able to do certain things that other people can't do. People in the political system have great health care and don't have any problems with that, but everybody else does have problems with health care. I mean, it's just, everything's so backwards. It feels so wrong. It feels like there is a hegemonical power structure, if I use the big terms, right? That seems like it is in cahoots with, it's like Jane's Addiction once said, the biggest gang I know is called the government, right? I remember when Perry Farrell sang that song. I was at the show, John Anson Ford Theater, but you think of that and you just go, oh yeah, it's like humans just get into politics and we're still corrupted and we still mess up. Whoa, crazy. Punishment is made for mockers, and the backs of fools are made to be beaten. Gosh, attitudes. Attitudes bring action, sometimes punishment, right? So watch my attitude. See where I'm at. Am I a mocker, right? Am I that person who is just foolish, just speaking foolish stuff, right? Just not thinking, So the Proverbs are definitely trying to hone us in our life. Cool proverb. Chapter 19. Man, they're awesome. Hey, thanks so much for joining me today. Hope you got a little bit of the word, kind of get you focused a little bit, and we will talk to you later. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.